just want to say a 2-income household is just so important. So make sure you keep your husband fed so he's not hungry at his second job.
Hello everyone, this is Emmanuel Cook. We will be reacting to a new video today, so make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video.
I just want to say that it's fucking wild that as a 2-income household, my husband and I have come to the realization we can't afford groceries right now. Like, just straight up can't afford groceries. Because if we buy groceries, then we either won't be able to pay our rent or our electric bill, because both of those come out of this pay cycle and they will take the entire pay cycle. That's fucking bonkers. That's so fucking wild. We have 2 incomes and we cannot afford to eat, and we don't even have kids. Like, it's literally just the 2 of us, and we can't afford to eat with 2 incomes. That is just... But I mean, I guess, you know, that means we won't have to wash dishes because our dishwasher's still broken, as it has been for 2 months at the place that we pay so much in rent, you know? Wild.
I definitely agree with you. I don't know what it is about our culture of people that always talk about this situation, that, you know, 80-40, 50-50, 70-30, it's crazy to me. For me personally, as a man, you know, when you love your woman, if you are married, you got kids, whatever it is, men naturally provide. That's something that we love to do, because when you love something, you take care of it. But I do believe that when you have a woman that loves you as well, she does not want to be someone that is just kept. She wants to be your teammate. She wants to be your partner. A lot of times people are in relationships with people who are opponents, people who are adversaries. They beefed out with one another. They're, you know, what do they call it? They're keeping score with one another. Me personally, when I get married, bro, I pray to have a teammate. I pray to have somebody who is going to pour into me like I'm pouring into them. And I'm gonna be real. I have no problem paying for anything for my girl. I don't got no problem providing for my family at all. That's something that I can't wait to do. But I'm telling you right now, if you have a woman in your life that really rock with you, she can't wait to do the same for you. And it may not be on the scale that you do it, but I'm telling you, women provide in different ways, even if it's not solely monetary, that will automatically level up her man. I can't say all women, but it's women out there, bro, that want a man to just take care of her. That is his sense of validity in this world. That is his sense of him being enough to her, is being able to give her something, being able to provide. But I truly believe when you got the right woman in your life, she cannot wait to turn up with you. She can't wait to be your teammate. And that 2 people becoming one makes you an absolute powerhouse when it comes to building generational wealth and creating a beautiful family. For me as a man, I do not want a liability. I'm sure women don't want a liability as well. That's why I say pick the person that is for you, that will do right by you, for you, just like you will for them.
I'm tired of hearing that millennials are lazy, because I put myself through college, and ever since I was 16, I've worked 2 to 3 jobs. Honestly, I would never even thought twice about it, except for the fact that we are a 2-income household and we are struggling to pay for the cost of childcare and most basic necessities, which had me like, let me retrace my steps and see exactly where I went wrong. Now, I made quite a few mistakes in my life, but definitely the worst one was signing up for an inflated education system, also with uncapped interest rates, and then also to land myself this mediocre job, which is completely dictated by the healthcare industry. But that's a whole different rant, so we'll just leave that to the side. So anyway, I realized that influencers and content creators are making a shit ton of money with a free social media account, and I was like, whoa, how is that happening? And then you get people who are like shitting on them, saying like, oh, it's just because they're lazy and they don't want to go to work. Well, for the record, creating content and posting it is work. But most of us realize it just takes a strategy to actually make it all come together. You can work as hard as you want or as long of hours as you want, trying to make sure that everything is perfect for an employer. And at the end of the day, you won't be seen and or rewarded for it. Because that's the culture that we live in. Just keep working, keep working, keep working. And the reason why you don't have enough is because you're not working hard enough. You didn't endure enough. But when you're a content creator, you're working for yourself, which means you actually get to reap the benefits and the rewards of all of your hard work without actually relying on a system like some fancy college or having to take out huge amounts of loans. And that, my friends, is why people are leaving the workforce at an alarming rate.
I have a controversial take, and it is that society isn't set up right, and it doesn't feel like there can be 2 parents who have demanding jobs in one household. Like, you can't have a dual income household where both jobs are very demanding. Even with care and everything, because so many of us don't have a village. Like, I have a village now, but we don't have family who helps. We don't have anything like that. So is anybody else feeling like this, where you're just burnt out from your job, and so you're doing your job half-ass, and then you're not being a good friend or partner, and then you're also kind of being a shitty parent because you're pissed from your day at work, and so-and-so didn't do this or did do this, and so you have to work extra, and then you have less patience for your kid? Because I'm just trying to figure out how people are navigating this as I'm trying to figure out my next step.
I just watched a video on here and I am a little bit triggered. Let me tell you why. All right, so in this video, the girl was like, if you have a 2-income household, you should not be struggling. Somebody in your household does not know how to manage money. Then I looked at the comments, and the comments was like, oh, people living beyond their means, what I'm saying? People having too many kids that they can't afford. Y'all know I got 3 kids, right? So that's why I'm a little bit triggered. Like, I feel like me and my husband make good money. And I feel like we do not live, above our means, so say. Like, we have 3 daughters. We have a home. We have 1 vehicle. When I tell you, I feel like we did everything right, and nothing could have prepared me for what the economy became after 2020. I'm a nurse, so 2020 was, a really shaky, year. I was teaching, and then I went back to bedside, and then I, did travel contracts just to get the bag. But even still, in making the most money you've ever made, there are just things that cost money now that we never had to account for in the past. Daycare prices went up astronomically after COVID. There was a waiting list, and then all of a sudden, everybody who could provide a service all of a sudden became a celebrity, daycare included. It was oh, you got to be put on the waiting list. You got to wait 6 months, 1 year. If you have an infant, you got to pay $437 a week, and people fighting for the spots. You get me? So now, as everything is trying to normalize, people are still price gouging like a mofo. Even insurance, car insurance went up astronomically. The price of groceries went up astronomically. And let's just be for real. When you have kids, there are just things that you have to buy and purchase in order to be able to take care of your family, extra food. You got to pay for snacks. You got to pay for diapers, wipes. So I don't think it's fair that you can sit there and judge and be like, oh, you should not be struggling if you have a 2-income household. Because yes, you can. You could be making a lot of money. You could be managing it well. But none of that matters when every single little thing in your life costs money. And y'all know we in an economy and a country that don't give a jack about the people living in it, especially parents, or especially the people who have to take care of an elderly family member or something. Life just be lifing. So don't be so quick to judge, because you never know. It could happen to you. I said all that to say everybody's situation is different. We're living in unknown times. And some people don't have any extra support outside of the 2-income household that they have. Some people are able to work from home where they don't have to worry about gas and travel and paying the toll. Some people live at home with their parents who are willing to watch their children so they don't have to worry about daycare. Some people are making enough money where taxes don't eat them up, or they're able to save and get the things that they need, whereas you may have a family that had to use a credit card to get groceries one time, or had to take out a loan so that they can move. Just be mindful and kind to each other, because times is hard, okay? 2-income household, couples, single, it's hard for everybody.
Okay, so here's a quick little financial tip. If you are a dual income household, aim to live on one of your salaries and then invest and save the other. And then if you are a single income household, aim to live on 80% or less of your income and invest the other 20% and save the other 20%. That way you have a buffer in case something happens. You're able to increase your net worth over time because you're not living on every single dollar that you make. All right. So a lot of people, they have dual income households over multiple 6 figures, and they're still broke, living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because they're living on everything that they have and they don't have a buffer in place. So whether you have a single income, a dual income. Make sure you are living on as less as possible and invest and save the rest. All right, if this was helpful, let me know in the comments.
Sometimes I hear stuff and I just want to say, who told you that? Well, in fact, I do ask, who told you that? For example, who told our young people that a man have to, and I say a man because normally that's what's expected, and I hear it from young women. Who told you that a man have to have enough money, a young man have to have enough money to take care of you, the house, and himself before you can get with him, or before he reaches your standard of approval? Honey, let me tell you, we live in a 2-income household for most people. Majority of the people have to have a 2-income household in order to make it. So, and then we as women, we want the same rights as men. We want to make the same thing they make for doing the same job, and we deserve it. So I'm trying to tell you, so if you can't take your income and take care of you and him, why do we expect him to take his income and take care of you and him? It doesn't make sense. I keep saying we have bought the narrative that they have sold. And that is what is dividing us as people, is tearing down relationships, and is keeping others from being built up. We have to remember, it takes two to make it. But I'm going to tell you, if we work hard enough and long enough, and you start early, you can one day possibly, and you will, just faith, be able to sit and allow that one income to suffice. But we can't have everything. We can't have all these material things and drive these fancy cars and expect for one income to be able to handle it. Be realistic. And I'll just say again, who told you that? Part 2 is coming.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
If there's 2 people in your household, there's no way that you should be struggling. There's no way that you should literally be having a hard time paying your bills on time and putting food on the table. Somebody's not managing their money correctly.
A quick reminder, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and let's continue the video.
I think one of the most frustrating things about being a 2-parent household is that every time you try to explain how you are tired or burnt out, the first thing people tell you is, at least you have each other, right? And yes, from the outside looking in, that is very much valid, right? But it's like, in my instance, I have a spouse that has a chronic illness, and I have a child that is autistic and was just recently diagnosed with ADHD. So in other words, I'm tired. I've been double the caregiver this past week because my husband had a flare up, and because I still have to take care of my special needs child. So it's like, yes, I just want to kill the narrative of y'all have each other, because when people say that, it's like, it almost constitutes not giving us any additional support because you think we can support each other all the time. And it's just not always the case. Like, I'm literally exhausted. And sometimes, like, going through my husband having a flare up and having to do all these appointments and stuff with my son, it is so frustrating because it triggers me, because it's like, damn, like, we really don't have the support that we were promised at one point. And it's just something that, you kind of learn to cope with as time goes on. But yeah, so that's all I came to say. 2-parent households still need support. Please. We still need the help, because I'm exhausted and I feel like I'm running on fumes.
When my father was alive, he did not work. He had a lot of health issues. Whenever he started to work, he would be in a lot of pain. He would be in excruciating pain. So my mom had 2 jobs most of our lives. Literally 2 jobs, and had 4 kids. So it's like, you have 2-parent household, yes, but it's not really 2 incomes. It's 1 income from 1 person, and it is hard. It's extremely hard for one parent to just work all the time 60, 70, 80 hours a week while the other one is sick, like really sick, it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
Okay, so I'm just checking. We're all unable to buy a house right now, right? Like, I'm not the only one who runs the numbers every single day and looks at the budget and is just like, there is no way on earth that this is potentially feasible for me. Like, I'm working with two very average incomes. They're not great incomes, but they're fine incomes. Incomes that 10 years ago probably would have meant that we could buy a house. I digress. Anyway, we pay rent so that we can live somewhere, because when we got out of college, we had to rent so we could theoretically save money to eventually buy a home. Except rent is so astronomical that we are actually not able to save for a home. Even still though, like, we don't pay as much in rent as I know other people do. We don't live in a huge city. It's somewhat affordable, even though I still think it's ridiculous. Compared to other people, it's still affordable. Okay, so subtracting that from what we bring home a month, like, yeah, there's still some money left. Except that somehow, no matter what I do, because we've cut back on everything, we've cut back on groceries, eating out, we haven't actually traveled in a while. I have a freaking coffee machine at home, so I don't buy coffee out of the house. I will admit that we do get avocados, but we do get them from Costco, so it's less expensive. We both work from home, so we shouldn't be paying that much for gas, but yet somehow we are. I'm going through my credit card statement at the end of every month, and I'm literally spending $20 here and there. Like, there are no big purchases on this credit card, but the groceries are killing us. But we also have to eat. We can't not eat. We need to put gas in the car because sometimes we do have to go places. But like, I can't figure out where this is coming from. Like, we're not huge shoppers. We eat at home most of the time. Compared to other people my age, we do not spend money on alcohol or drugs. I don't freaking Uber Eats or Grubhub or anything. And I don't want to sound ungrateful because at the end of the month we are able to save something, right? But it's not nearly enough to save up for a down payment on a freaking house. And if we did decide to go that route, it would take us, I calculated it, like 12 years of just doing absolutely nothing with our lives, like just staying at home, doing nothing. And I'm not willing to spend the next 12 years completely restricting myself for the dream, the possibility of a dream of getting to buy a home. Like, these are the best years of my life. I want to live them. And even if we did that and we saved for 12 years and we put a down payment on a house, we could not afford a nice one. Our mortgage would still cost more than my rent currently. So I'd essentially be paying more for a shittier living situation than I have now. And I feel like everyone's in this situation. And so my question is, like, if we have babies, which it seems a lot of us are not willing to do that right now, which I totally understand. So if we have them, like, I feel like we're just gonna see children raised in like communal living more. More families are gonna have to make do with smaller spaces. And I think we're just gonna see that because people acclimate, people are flexible. Because I'm genuinely not seeing a way to get this done without like completely derailing my life. Because I gotta keep paying bills, I gotta keep paying rent, I gotta keep eating, I gotta keep going places. And if I'm doing that, I just can't save that much money on the side. I love it here. I love it here so much.
So there is a video on TikTok floating around, has gone viral. Her name is Emma, and she's talking about how she stitched a video about a woman talking about how millennials can't afford to have kids because it is so expensive for childcare and that kind of thing, and talked about how much it costs to raise a child. Now, Emma came in and stitched, and she said that it's not the government's job to give you free childcare, that you as a family should prioritize your family instead of your career. One person should stay home, one person should work. She's a one of 11 siblings, and her parents do that. She has since turned off her stitches and duets, so I got a little snippet and I'm going to play her video.
The $237,000 number, she says that's just for basic necessities, but I don't really know what that means. Like, how is that broken down? And I think that number can vary very greatly.
So basically she was cut off, and she said she thinks it could be reduced by, depending on where you go to get your clothing or going out to eat or your lifestyle. She didn't know where the $237,000 came for raising a kid. That is what the woman she stitched mentioned. It comes from formula, diapers, clothing. Nobody, until you have a baby, you have no idea how much you need. I was blindsided. And now, even if you breastfeed, and formula's not even in the equation, it's still diapers. Go down the diaper aisle and see how much diapers cost. And they have you because they know you need them. Now, you could go ahead and do cloth diapers, but hello, that's not a pleasant situation. You still are using a lot of water to wash those diapers. All of this stuff adds up. All of it adds up. And when you are a young person living at home and you're not doing grocery shopping, and you probably have a decent income, family, I guarantee you she has no idea how much things cost. Let's talk about clothing that they're going to grow out of in like a month. Yeah, you can go to secondhand stores or, that kind of thing. But baby food's expensive. But yeah, we can make our own baby food, but you got to go buy the ingredients. And that's expensive too. Never gone shopping. Never really. My son has no idea how much things cost. He's bowled over by when I tell him how much things cost. But not until you start earning a paycheck and you see how fast that paycheck goes on little necessities that you need to survive. And then when it comes down to paying childcare as well, it's like, how am I going to afford this too? It is all around expensive, and the world has gotten expensive to the point where people can't survive. And now they're talking about raising the retirement age to 70 for like my son's generation. That's awful. Even now I'm looking at 65 as a retirement, and I'm thinking, will I be, able to go on vacation? I even look my generation, will I be able to afford to even retire? Everything is so expensive, and until you start living in the world on your own with your own money, you won't understand that.
If you're the parent of kids in childcare, I totally understand, and you should go watch that video. A few weeks ago, I posted about how we had tried to wait to have our second child until my son was no longer in childcare. And I was very serious because childcare is incredibly expensive. And then we got twins. We pay $1,400 every single month for childcare. And to be honest, that wasn't even the most expensive that we found. I honestly don't know what's the solution, because when you break it down on an hourly rate, it's really not that much. And I also know that childcare workers don't even make a lot of money. So you're just kind of like, what do we do with this crisis? Because it's literally unsustainable. Because on top of our mortgage, on top of our other bills, we pay $1,400 in childcare. But I can't express how grateful I am that my girls got into the school my son goes to. So in August, we don't pay anymore.
I'm going to try and be succinct with this. I've tried to film this and keep it short, and I just keep talking too long. So I left my career a year ago, and it was a wild decision. I was the breadwinner. That's a whole story on its own. If you're interested in hearing why and how I did what I did, I'm happy to share that. But the point being is we went from 2 incomes to 1, and I was the breadwinner, so we lost more than half our income, which means we had to change a lot about our lifestyle. It was a privilege that we could still make that decision to go down to a 1-income family and be on my husband's income, but a sacrifice at the same time. Like, both can be true. And so the type of person I am, I need to still contribute. And so although I'm not bringing money in, I could be a good steward of the money in which I have or spend, and that really is grocery shopping. And so we budget $200 a week for groceries, and I have, on the low end, I've never spent that full amount in the last year. On the lowest end, I've saved $50. On the highest week, I saved $120, so I only spent $80. But it's somewhere in between those two numbers. And so then I save all that money each week and put it aside so that we can afford at the end of the year to do a vacation for next year. But the way that I've been able to do that, because in the past we would eat out a lot, or I had a full-time job, mother of 2 kids, wife, busy life. I didn't have time to do much planning, and so we would just either eat out or like last minute be like, okay, what could I make with what I have? And there was no forethought given, right? So we wasted a lot, and we weren't organized. So getting organized is what has enabled me to save that money every week. So the first thing that I do is I shop my house before I shop the grocery store. So what do I already have in my deep freezer, or fridge? And then build a meal plan off of that. And then I only need to get from the store the supplemental pieces that I don't have to make what I want. And obviously the staples like bread and, not bread, I make my own bread. Sorry, milk and eggs, cheese, some snacks for the kids like cheese strings and stuff. But for the most part, I am making a lot of my own food, trying to get processed food out of our house. So I make our bread, I make tortillas, I make butter, I make peanut butter. I'm going to make fruit snacks. I have made them in the past. I'm going to start making them again. So It's more ingredients that I'm having to shop for the most part, and then meat. I'm not making my own meat. That's never gonna happen. So what I started with found in my deep freezer this week was broccoli bake, 3 bags of meatballs. Don't know why I had 3 bags. Chicken thighs and chicken drumsticks, pork buns and cheese curds, and pork sausage in my fridge. So this is what I built, the meal plan I built off of it. Tonight we're gonna do spaghetti and mini meatballs with crescent rolls. I have all of that stuff. Tomorrow I'm gonna take that broccoli bake. I'm gonna buy chicken breast. I need to buy that. Add that to it. The recipe called for shell pasta, which I don't have, but I do have farfalle. How do you pronounce that? Bow tie pasta. I have that, so I'm just gonna replace it and add some veggies to it as well. Extra veggies to it, and some cheddar cheese, which I need to buy. So I just need to buy the chicken and the cheese for that. Wednesday, I'm gonna pick up a Sam's Club chicken. It's less than $5. We do that a lot, with baked potatoes, corn casserole, and probably homemade biscuits. If I'm sick, I've been sick for the last couple days, so if I'm still feeling sick tomorrow, I might just buy a can of biscuits and call it a day. But usually I'll make my own biscuits from the buttermilk that I get from making my butter on Mondays. So we'll see how that turns out. Thursday, I'm gonna make pork sausage and fried rice, teriyaki pork sausage with fried rice and bao buns. And I need to buy some like frozen veggies, mixed veggies to toss into the fried rice. So for that, I just need the veggies. Friday night is always pizza night for us. I already have a cheese pizza and some fancy pizzas for me. My husband doesn't like those, so I'll probably just need to buy him either a sausage or pepperoni from the store. So that's all I need for Friday. And then Saturday, I'm going to use those chicken drumsticks. We have a really, really yummy recipe my husband made of sticky teriyaki chicken. It was called for wings originally, but it works really well with drumsticks. And do the cheese curds as an appetizer and then salad with that. So that's kind of like our takeout night or like restaurant night. So like try to recreate meals that we usually eat out. I've done that a lot. So we'll start with the cheese curds as an appetizer, then do the wings and have the salad. In other weeks, I'll do things like recreate like Potbelly's Rex, cheesesteaks, Chick-fil-A sandwiches, like things like that, Big Macs. Like I'll try to recreate meals my kids love, but not pay for them at the restaurants and trust that the ingredients are better because I made them myself. And then Sunday we hodgepodge. So it's just, fend for yourself, whether you want cereal or leftovers or grilled cheese, make your own. We call it a hodgepodge, and that way I get a night off from having to cook. So this has how we've saved a lot of money, enough to be able to have a really nice vacation next year without having to put more money towards it. So anyways, I thought I would share that because I found it to be the most helpful way that I could save us money and still feel like I'm contributing then to our bottom line. If you want to hear about my testimony about what I did, why I left, how that all went, and how my heart changed, happy to share that. Let me know in the comments. If you have any other suggestions on ways I could save money from people that have gone before me in this, would love to hear them. And happy to share any of my recipes or meals or any of the stuff that I make from home. If you guys want to see stuff like that, happy to do that as well. And or if you have any suggestions of other things I could try to make myself, I'm on that journey currently. So I feel like a lot of people are on that journey. So, the more we share, the more we care. And we can succeed together. I love that idea. So anyways, hope you guys have a really great week. Bye.
I appreciate you guys watching the video today. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.